actually my account. I'm just waiting for TikTok to verify me.
Damn, I do not think this is gonna go the way. If you don't know who this is, perfect introduction. This will cover it.
She was probably, I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey? He's like, breathe quietly.
John and Kate Plus 8 premiered on TLC in 2007 after 2 successful specials on Discovery Health and became pretty much an overnight sensation. People were like, oh my god. But things really went downhill from there. The first reports of her being incredibly controlling and really hard to be around, I don't know why they took so long, because you can actually see that on the show. However, there's been a lot that's gone on over a long time, so let's just a little timeline of who that is. The show concentrated on John and Kate plus their 8 children. They had a set of twins, then they had a set of sextuplets. And on top of the actual show just kind of getting a lot of side eyes because these people clearly did not get along, the divorce really wasn't a surprise to me as much as it was everybody else, but we'll get to that in a second. But from the very beginning, they were getting side-eyed by the state of Pennsylvania because are you saving any of these kids money? And their treatment of these kids and the way that the money was managed in a lot of other situations actually led Pennsylvania to changing their laws. And a little rundown, if you don't know about Coogan laws, basically, Coogan laws do not cover reality show kids or YouTube kids, and Coogan laws don't exist in every state. They actually exist in a very small number of states. However, Pennsylvania amended these laws to make sure that these kids were gonna get a cut of what they were working so hard for, as well as better working conditions. Even though the trusts were set up eventually, there are also allegations that mom got into the trust right before some of the kids turned 18 and took quite a bit to buy herself a new house. Then we get to late 2009 and the first scandal breaks. John is photographed in his car with a very young teacher, and this is called an affair. Now, John maintains to this day that these two had already separated and she was making him keep a secret for the show, which that actually does kind of make sense because there was a lot of money and, you know, that sort of thing. However, this blows up, show gets canceled, getting divorced. They do a whole thing where they sit in a chair and talk about it. Very awkward, very uncomfortable.
Kate and I have decided to separate.
Yes, we have decided that we will separate.
Little fun side note piece of millennial history for any younger people who are in there. Yes, she did have a very big hand in popularizing the Karen haircut. So, like, a mega Karen really should be called a mega Kate. I rest my case. There are also questions about Kate's behavior with her bodyguard. However, there's not pictures, so we'll go with that, right? And TLC rebrands John and Kate plus 8 to Kate plus 8. During the first part of this time, John is very honest. He was jet setting, not worrying what he should be doing, running around, and consequently, on a side note, gets blamed by the brand Ed Hardy for their fashion falling off because that's all he was wearing. But it's back now, so I wonder where that thought process is. However, about 2010, 2011, he no longer wants his children to be filmed for the show, and this starts a very long legal battle with Kate. This one is just an overview, by the way. Go to my playlist. I have covered this a lot over the last several years, so you'll be able to find a lot of the stuff. I'm just kind of giving you the bullet points, you know what I mean? But Kate plus 8 premieres to mixed reviews because people are actually starting to ask those questions. Is this a good environment for children? Should children be used on TV in this sort of way? Because you've got to remember, this starts really early in that TLC mega family vibe. Kate plus 8 premieres a year later than it was supposed to in 2010 because of the legal battle with John. However, it is found that it is normal working conditions. They're not being forced into anything. However, they will need to acquire workers' permits to be on TV. Kate plus 8 is short-lived in that time and is only on a few months until 2014 when they renew the show again. It gets a couple seasons, but again, people are having different conversations around this and they're not like, what? In 2014, a tell-all book is published, Kate Gosselin, How She Fooled the World, that allegedly contains excerpts from her private journals that were removed from her trash can that allege atrocious behavior towards those children. She denies it, gets a legal team, and the book is then removed from shelves. One of the most notable things in her journal, though, is her behavior towards her son, Colin. And it's about this time on the show that people notice Colin's missing. People start to get really worried and want to know, where is Colin? And it turns out that she had him committed to 2 different facilities with very little medical evidence, even to this day, of why that actually happened, and did not visit him, basically left him there until he sent a letter to his dad saying, I'm not trying to trick you, but please come and get me. At this time, John starts fighting for his son and is able to get full custody. That full custody, it's important to note, was given to him by default because she didn't bother to show up to court. She says she tried to get a continuance because she had other obligations, and when she didn't get that continuance, she just didn't show up. Kate and Colin do not have a relationship because she will not have a relationship with him. He has said that he's reached out several times. Another of the children, Hannah, also decided to go live with John, and that is when communication with mom stopped also. Allegedly for internet purposes, because this one is litigious, but I know who I believe. To this day, there are no reports of any official diagnosis, medical records, or otherwise, especially a diagnosis that would have kept someone in residential treatment for almost 3 years. 2020 to 2021, another legal battle ensues, wherein John says that she withdrew over $100,000 from at least one of the children's private trust accounts that were only for them when they turned 18, for living expenses. She doesn't give much better of an explanation for that, and I don't have to say allegedly on that one because it was in court paperwork. 2022 to 2024, Colin and Hannah are incredibly outspoken about how they were treated by their mother. There are several interviews done, which again, go to that playlist. I've covered that, right? And her silence is deafening until she comes out with a statement that made it worse. Pause to read that if you'd like to, but you know. Be discussing this subject any further. Whenever asked about Colin, or even when she made her statement, she seems very annoyed that people want to know, and everyone's kids just disappear off reality TV every day. Like, why are you even asking? 2025, Kate comes to TikTok and thinks that's a really good idea. You know? Took a little scroll through the comments and was actually pleasantly surprised because she must have not gotten to this morning's round of deletions before I left, but I'm sure they'll be gone because, as always, comment section highly filtered. That's it for this one. I hope you guys have a good day. And this popped up on my FYP, and I was like, whoa! This is not a good idea. Okay, well, then let's talk about it, I guess. Okay.